who are also connected in really interesting ways, which we will find out about over the course of our hour together. And I think the best way to begin is to begin with the book itself. So let me share my screen. And Holly, would you read your beautiful new book?
Absolutely, it will be my pleasure, Julie. What the World Could Make, A Story of Hope, written by Holly M. McGhee, illustrated by Pascal Lemaitre. The friends thought it a wonder, winter white flakes, a gift from the sky. They let them land, the snow melting against their warmth. The friends could sit there always, just like that, watching what the world could make. Isn't it beautiful, said Bunny. The other watched the snowflakes fall. Yes, said Rabbit. I wish it would snow forever, Bunny said. Forever? Asked Rabbit. For always? No, not exactly. Not that kind of forever. I think I know, Rabbit said. You mean the kind of forever where you remember it even after it ends. Rabbit stood up and began to make a snowball for Bunny. With a snowball, round as their tails and big as their friendship, Bunny would remember the snow for forever. With each turn, the snowball got bigger and bigger and bigger until Rabbit knew it was ready. This is for you, said Rabbit, so you can remember forever. For me, Bunny asked. You made a gift from the heart with a gift from the sky. The friends thought it a wonder, lilacs in spring beginning to bloom, tiny clusters of flowers, purple, dark, and light, fuchsia, and white. I like their colors, said Rabbit. Bunny closed her eyes, breathing in the blossoms. I like their smell, she said. I wish they would bloom forever, said Rabbit. Forever? Bunny asked. For always? No, not exactly. Not that kind of forever. I know what you mean, said Bunny this time. The kind of forever where you remember it even after it ends. Bunny made a crown, weaving together the branches and flowers until she knew it was ready for Rabbit. This is for you, Bunny said, so you can remember forever. It fits, said Rabbit. You made a gift from the heart with a gift from the earth. For me. The friends thought it a wonder. Summer, sea pickles in the marsh, bright green and salty. Let's take a bite, Bunny said. Okay, said Rabbit. Wet and crunchy, briny and tart. They're yummy, said Rabbit. Bunny finished one, then another. Delicious, she said. A gift to us, said Rabbit, from the sun and the sea and the sand. The friends thought it a wonder what the autumn world could make. A ginkgo carpet to behold. They wish they could keep it forever, this magical kingdom of gold. Then Rabbit gathered the leaves in a pile and said to Bunny, jump. And Bunny said to Rabbit, jump. So Bunny jumped and Rabbit did too. And they jumped and jumped and jumped, celebrating what the world could make. And then the snow began to fall again. It's snowing, Rabbit whispered. It was a wonder. White flakes coming down, the friends together, watching anew what the world could make. For Kate DiCamillo, who walks with us, holding the light, making the world more beautiful with her stories, Holly and Pascal. In the middle of winter, I at last discovered that there was in me an invincible summer. Albert Camus.
So beautiful. Oh, thank you both for that. That was just, especially at this moment, as spring begins, it's just so lovely. And the lilacs are out right now here in the Northern Hemisphere, at least in New Jersey. It's just such a delight to hear these beautiful words and see these gorgeous, gorgeous pictures. Kate and Pascal, I wanted to ask you first, this book is dedicated, Holly and Pascal, this book is dedicated to Kate. Holly, can you tell us about why that is?
Yes, I can. It was a very easy decision.
Try not to make me cry, Holly.
I would never do. If you cry, it's only because you got your second Pfizer shot today. But and we're hoping she lasts through the event because it might hit
I feel fine.
9 or 10 hours.
Cry when you read that, it's the book, and then the dedication. So yeah, okay, go ahead. You can answer. I'll shut up.
Well, Kate and I, as a literary agent, Kate has been my client for over 20 years. And I've been recording my dreams for a very long time. And in 2013, I think it was, I had a dream about me and Kate. And we were, do you have that image, Julie?
I do. Let me put it up.
So we were on a roller coaster, about 12 feet above the ocean. And I'm afraid of the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean. That was significant to me. And it was a one-track coaster. We were the only car on it. And when we got to the top of the highest incline, our car stopped moving. And we just sat there. And Kate looked at me in this image. She's the littler one, although we're the same size in the actual book. And she said, "What do we do?" And I said, "We lean forward." And then off we went. And Kate is so dear to me, and she, she can get whatever she wants. And for Christmas, I just thought, what could I give her that would be so meaningful? And I asked Pascal to draw this dream. And so he did. And this is a sketch. And then the final image this is from the framer, the framing mill in New Jersey. This is how it turned out before I sent it to her. And so these bunny dreams, I've been sending her one for Christmas every year since, because there always seems to be plenty of dreams and plenty of material that we both would like to have a symbol of. And that's kind of the origin of how these bunnies came to be.
And were you and Kate bunnies in your dream?
We were just me and Kate, and then.
So Pascal, what led to making Holly and Kate bunnies?
I'm not sure why. Why did you do that, Pascal?
Maybe, I don't know, but I have to give an answer.
You can make something up. We won't know whether it's true or not. So
No, I think that the rabbit is very common for, a lot of us, in our childhood. Like I had my beloved stuffed toy, is it English, was a rabbit, and I loved him so much that I kept him so many years. But also in my memory as a kid, the rabbits, they run fast because they know they can die because of the hunters. So in a way, there is something very pure about the rabbit, but he knows about the fragility of life and the fragility of the moment. And also those kind of animals, I have to say, I was also very inspired in my work by someone like William Steig. I don't know if I pronounce it in the American way. His world is full of animals, and so it's a way to communicate feelings. So I think maybe that's why.
Kate, what was it like when you received this? Do you remember back to that
I
Christmas?
sure do remember. I burst into tears, and because it's like and it's not only that Holly. I mean, I remember exactly where I was when she told me about the dream. I loved the dream, and Holly, I would say, more than any other person, shows up in my dreams on a regular basis, and so we're always telling each other our dreams, and then to have the dream be made into art. And it does it, and it was in Pascal, your answer is interesting because it touches on something that I'm always like aware of when I'm, because I write about animals so much. And it is a shorthand to the human heart when you and so it, an animal lets you in more quickly to the human heart. It's really interesting. And so when I unwrapped this, and I had no idea what it was, and Holly didn't tell me, you were a little bit more invested in whether or not this had gotten there than any other thing that you had sent. And so I was just like, I knew that, so was, I knew it was something special, but I had no idea. And the rabbits were so eloquent and spoke to me so deeply, and I felt seen. That's how I felt. And I think that's what every good piece of art um, does. It makes you feel seen.
I love what you just said, which is that animals let us into the heart. And Holly, as you wrote What the World Could Make, were you imagining that it would be rabbits, bunnies again? And was that a part of what you were thinking about?
Not at all. And by the way, Kate, you almost made me cry. And this is one of the few times I put on mascara in the last month. I'm gonna kill you if you do that. But when I wrote
We're going to make everybody cry if we can by the end of this.
So when I wrote the book, it was more a celebration of where I felt I was in my life. And I had this feeling of abundance about the world. And I finished this in the end of 2018. And it wasn't until I got fairly far along with it that I realized it was about these bunnies. And I felt sort of nervous because I called Kate and I said, I realized the story I'm working on is actually about those bunnies, and those bunnies belong to you as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know how do you feel about that? And she felt the bunnies belong to me.
Yep. And Holly, I always have a notebook where I keep a running idea, a list of ideas for stories. And those bunnies were in there for a long time. And I will periodically send Holly messages about, I'm working on something and it might come to, and I tried with the bunnies. I don't know if you remember this, and then it didn't work. So I carried them around in the notebook for a while, and then I knew for a fact it was not mine, it was yours. But I was so blown away by Pascal's art that I thought I want to do something. And so it went into the notebook as roller coaster bunnies. And that's what I carried from notebook to notebook. And then by the time you showed up and said, I want to, is it okay if I do this? It's like, absolutely, because I know they don't belong to me, they belong to you.
I love hearing this back and forth, and I can hear a sort of deep connection and friendship between the two of you. And Pascal, I know you and Holly have also been friends for a long, long time. I love that, Holly, you asked Pascal to make this drawing, and I'm going to share it again so that we can all see it. And Pascal, I want to ask you about the journey from these bunnies to these bunnies. How did you get from what look like grown-up bunnies in this image to the characters who inhabit this world?
Oh, that was a total collaboration with Holly, because as an illustrator, of course, I will bring my own world. But in a way, as I know Holly, I wanted to know more about her idea about the text and what she wanted to convey. So it was a long collaboration. I did many different rabbits and bunnies, and we exchanged a lot, especially about the eyes, the attitudes, and I tried different colors. And then from the bunnies, I looked at a way to express an atmosphere. So a detail here is the fact that unlike for Listen, all the elements are very well drawn. I mean, the ginkgo leaves, each ginkgo leaves is there. It's not like a sketch. Because as it's about nature, I thought that every element is like an individual, it's like a character, and every element in nature make a connection and make a whole. So that was important to have all those details. But for example, the bunny on the branch, I don't know how many sketches and discussion we had with Ollie about the attitude. And I even asked my wife, she's a dancer choreographer, to take some attitudes, and I took pictures of her to try to have the right feeling about the rabbit is in love with the golden carpet, and he wants to jump maybe. So it was full of conversation about every details.
And I love what you said about the eyes, because that was one of the things when I first read the book. You know, two bunnies, we have bunnies in our backyard, they all look exactly the same. But bunny and rabbit here are their own thing. That one, the ears are different, the eyes are different. It's clear who is who as you go through the story. And it sounds like that was something very intentional for you.
I think that's so interesting, Julie, because, you know, I've thought a lot about this story, and often in picture books, there's two different points of view and they come to a meeting of the minds. And I really think of these rabbits as me and Kate, and we do have a shared sensibility of the world. We're not adversarial, but we express it differently. And I think that's what Pascal achieved in the way he drew these lagomorphs, which I just have to throw in there because I learned that word 2 weeks ago.
Spell it, Holly, spell it.
Lagomorph, and that's what Kirkus Reviews called these bunnies, and I have to thank them for that because it's enhanced my life greatly in a number of ways.
I love too, Pascal, hearing that you had your wife, that not just having these two characters differentiated, but also giving them movement and a sense of how they move in space was so important to you.
Yes, and I have to say that I was lucky to follow my wife on tour as a dancer, and I could spend a lot of time looking at the dancers and especially the company of Mikhail Baryshnikov. And I think it's going to the point of the book. The main, for me, the main point of the book is the ability to look at things around you. To, in a way, the main word for me is the ability to admire, and because it feeds your soul. And as an artist, of course, visual artist, is very important to look at the things, you know, around you. And so the book, in the process, and for me, the main content is that, to be able to admire the world and to look at the world and people and admire people.
Kate, for you, as you look at this book, do you have a preference as to which one you might be, bunny or rabbit?
Oh, I know who I am.
You do? Okay, tell me.
I'm rabbit. Yeah, Holly's bunny. I'm still back there thinking about what Pascal said about looking at the world, and because I was nodding my head the whole time he was talking, and it's like it's that thing of approaching not only, and Pascal said this, not only all of the nature of the world, but the people of the world with wonder and awe.
Yes.
And we forget that all the time, that's our job here as human beings. Surely it's your job as an artist and as a writer, but it's our job as human beings to be here and to marvel over it. And this book is a reminder to do that. And I was also looking at the sea pickles as he was talking. Every one of them, I just like every one of them is articulated. That's amazing. Can you go back? Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. And it's just, look
Yes.
at that. Yeah. Unbelievable. And it fills you with wonder, right? And that's the whole, yeah. So what was I supposed to answer? Yeah.
You did. You did. No, this is and then some, which is so wonderful. And yes, the sense of wonder both in the words in the story here and in these beautiful, beautiful illustrations. It comes through on every single page. Holly, I think about you. So 2018, was that just about the time when you moved to New York City?
Yeah, let's see.
Because this is so full of the sort of natural world. And I know from knowing where you are in Manhattan that you have a beautiful world there, but it's different.
Yeah, I hadn't closed on my apartment yet, but it was in the works. And New York City is more like my natural world. It's funny, I write about all these beautiful parts of nature because I'm such a city person. But yeah, it was about that time.
And so you got to bring that natural world into your beautiful apartment.
Maybe that's why, yeah.
Through these stories.
And the sea pickles, I don't know if Pascal remembers this, but we together were visiting a friend on Shelter Island. And we went down to the ocean, I guess it was the bay. And that was the first time I ever had a sea pickle. And he had one too. And the taste of it never left my memory. And so these things that show up in the book usually have a long and happy history.
Yeah, it goes on for forever, right?
Yeah. Yes, Rabbit, it does.
As you worked on this, Holly, how did it change? Did the story go through a lot of changes?
Gosh, I have about 40 drafts in my file, but I haven't looked at them recently. I do know I had a lot of help from my friend Joanna Kotler, who sometimes weighs in on my work, and then my friend Julie Burstein rearranged the seasons a little bit, and that was not Julie Burstein,
Not somebody.
Julie
Yeah.
Hamilton, and Julie, you help in all kinds of ways. And then my agent and my editor weighed in at the end. So, but the gist of it didn't. I mean, it started. I was lying on my acupuncturist table, and I had this image of the snowball, and I was thinking about the idea that there was very little snow on the ground, and these characters were rolling a snowball, and as they did, the grass shone because there was only a finite amount of snow to work with, and it started there, and I couldn't wait until he came in and took my needles out so I could write it down because I knew it was something, and his name's Roberto, and that is where the whole thing started, and then it morphed into something else. But it started with the snowball.
With that image of someone making a snowball and the grass showing through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and I knew it was something, so I was like, hurry up, I might forget this. And I told him when he came in, I said, I've got something. You have to let me off the table right now so I can get
it. To write it down. And Kate, you talk about carrying a notebook around with you all the time too. It sounds like, is that something that you go through as well, where wherever it hits, you need to write it down and make sure you catch it?
You never know. So you're never without it because you don't know when it's, and it's everybody always wants writing tips. And to me, that is like the most important tool, because having it is a reminder of that thing that Pascal was talking about paying attention, which is your job. I love that Flannery O'Connor quote about the writer must never be ashamed of staring. Everything, requires her attention. It's your job to stare and to wonder.
Yes.
Can I add something?
Yes.
I think what Kate said is also, there is a link with Albert Camus, because Albert Camus was a writer of the people for the people. And his work as an artist was to express the voice of little people, because he grew in Alger and at all that childhood in Alger with the sun, the sea, and he was a fan of soccer. So it's a group of people together. So I think also the fact that Camus is at the end of the book is very important about those connections between us.
That's so interesting, the connection between us, all of us, or between the three of you, or both?
Who cares about the connection between the three of us? We love it, but we cannot exist without being part of a group of other people. And what we are doing now is, okay, we are the three of us, but what is a writer without a reader? What is a dancer without a spectator? So we are really all linked together. That's there is no doubt about that.
And that the beautiful images here make us feel that too, the connection between all of us. Holly, as you read the book, and I've now heard you read it twice because we practiced it, do new things begin to surface for you as you see it and speak it?
I think I get more emotional each time I read it. And tonight, because my rabbit was here with us, it was a very moving experience. But I think in a way it's one of the simplest book I've done because, look, even in the middle of this pandemic, look around us, there's so much beauty, and it's always there, and it can be hard to remember. a lot of times. And I really haven't read this book aloud often. I mean, today before this event, I thought, oh, I better just read it through once so I don't make a mistake. But it has this sort of rhythmic, like waves coming in, and you know what's going to come the next season. And I think it's, for me, the most comforting book to read aloud of everything I've written. And I very much enjoy it like a lullaby.
It's comforting to hear it. You know?
Yes.
It's just, it wants so much to be read aloud. And that's what I was thinking as you were reading, is, and how powerful, this is something that has amazed me over the last year and some odd months, is that power still comes through even this way. The power of being read to, and the comfort of it and the connection of it. So thank you for reading to us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way, that this book, it is something that's lovely to read with your eyes, but to hear it, maybe it's because I'm a radio producer and that's the way that I initially experience things, but to hear it, I love the way you describe it, Holly, like a lullaby. It does feel like that.
And I think it came from such a happy moment in my life that I was celebrating, whereas Listen came from a very challenging moment in my life, and Come With Me was just a time of, it hasn't gone away, but it was a time when I just needed to try to say what I could say about the hatred in the world. And this one just came from a place of joy.
Which may also be why it's such a pleasure to read out loud too.
Yes, I'm sure.
Samantha,
Julie?
yes.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no,
I just wanted to say something about the sounds.
Yes.
I think you can listen the book with your eyes.
Yes.
Because when I did the drawing, for example, the first landscape with the snow, I was trying to feel the silence.
Yes, yes.
When there is no snow, you have that silence. You have something white. And I think it's not because you live in the city you can not dream about nature, because I think it's all a symbol of what is to be in the white space, peacefully. So I wanted to feel the sound when he does push the snow to make a ball. We all remember the sound of the snow when you walk on the snow. So I tried also to remember the noises when I did the drawing. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. And, I felt that too, Pascal, especially in these first couple of images. There is something so infinite about these images of the bunny and rabbit in the snow, where there's no horizon line. And it just is so sort of, you feel like what it feels like when you're in a snowstorm, and it feels like everything is happening quietly all around. Just so beautiful. No grass, though. That's interesting. So no grass coming through. There was more snow on this day.
I think the snow, the grass is coming later. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But also I like the layout, because when you see the way the lines are, the typography, there is they looked at every details about also the rhythm of the sentences. And of course, with the rhythm of the sentences, you have the sound of the words and the way you can read it. And I was wondering, as I have Holly and Kate, I have the feeling that when you write, you go in a very, very, very deep place, which for me is like, that silence of the snow. Or do you go inside you so deeply? Maybe for Kate, I was thinking about that feeling I had with Tulane, when the rabbit is in the sea and he has no power, he can do nothing. And I thought it was so powerful as an image and an expression of sometimes the way human being we can feel. I was wondering where you go to find those images so powerful. And for Holly, I know also during the process of writing that text, she went very deep. And I don't do that because I don't like it. But how do you do that?
Yes, you do it. Yes,
No, I hate doing that. I hate going down, down, down where you go.
you go down, 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 but then what happens in my experience, and we'll see what Holly says, is you go down and you get away from yourself and you go into something that is much bigger and better than yourself. And there's so much relief in that, because you find something that is much bigger to you and bigger than you and connected to everything else. And I always feel like that's my job. It's a little bit scary going down there, but it's also, once you get there, and you know, when you were talking, Pascal, it made me think, you said how much you like William Steig, who's right at the top of my list too. And it made me think of Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. And you know, that moment when Sylvester has turned into a rock and his parents are sitting on him as they're looking for him, which has got to be one of the most profound moments in all of children's literature, because that's the way it feels, not only for a kid as your parents sitting on top of you, wondering where you are, but for all of us, we're trying to get that rock that we are, we're trying to have somebody break it open. And that's what stories do and art does. And don't tell me that you don't go deep. Okay, Holly, you take it. Yeah.
I mean, I have very little to add to that, except I think for me, you know, I think one of my main jobs as a human is to integrate my the dark things inside that I'm afraid of, with my conscious self. And that's where my stories come from. And once I'm able to do that, I am helping myself and hopefully sending a message that helps other people. And it's the only way I know to go on, really.
One of the things, and then in a moment, Pascal, I'd love to turn to you. But one of the things I've been thinking a lot as you all have spoken is something that I got to experience recently with my podcast, Live from Mount Olympus, which was creating something together with a group of other people. And as we were looking at that layout, I was thinking that this is not just Holly, you and Pascal, but it's also the designer. And
here tonight, I think.
So what is it like to be part of something that gets bigger and changes as other people join you to make this book happen?
In this case, it was an incredible experience, because we, just like Rabbit and Bunny, who sort of share the sensibility of the world, everyone on our team, Jen Besser, our editor, Elena Giovanazzo, our agent, Jen Keenan, our designer, we all had the sort of the same perspective, but different things to add from where we sat. So we were never at odds with each other. We all wanted to make the most beautiful thing we could.
Yes. Well, we have the capacity and the time, Pascal, to turn to you, and we can talk about this. I would love to have you share your screen. I know you had come ready to do some drawing for us. So let me turn it over to you. Oh, but you're muted. We had to say that at some point in a Zoom.
No, it's just on computer. So usually I just choose pen and ink, and then I do the watercolor, or I work on Photoshop. So I suggest that you go on talking, because it won't be so spectacular.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you're going to play with while we talk.
I have an idea, but I will let myself go. But I have an idea, and you will see.
Okay.
Now you get to find out how stubborn he is, Julie.
I can ask.
So do you see the screen?
Not quite, not yet.
Oh, Okay. And,
Now we do. We've got it
okay.
now.
Okay, go on talking because it won't be very, very interesting.
Okay. Well, but we're going to pay attention, but we will go on talking. Kate, have you had stories like this that come to you that in a sense are a little bit about you?
Not, it's always more, I kind of write behind my own back. So after it's done, I can see, I'm quite distracted by Pascal. I can't.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
After it's done, I can see that how much of my direct experience is in it, but it never is my experience that starts. It's rather something that I've seen, sometimes something that I dream. Pascal, I thought at first it was a very involved candle opera, but that's not what it is.
Oh,
I thought it was a lilac, but now I don't.
it's too difficult to draw.
I just wish that I could do that.
It's fun to watch.
It is fun to watch. It's like, what's going to happen next?
It's easy, it's like sleep time for me. So it's like I'm going to go sleeping and I do little stuff. Okay, but go on talking because I have an idea and then I have to draw it.
Well, and it's interesting, Kate, I'm also thinking too about this is a story in a way that Holly wrote about your friendship together. So it's somebody bringing you a story about you too.
Yeah, which is, and it's also a story that started with Holly's dream life, and
yes,
and that story. I mean, it's like I should have. I would have had to take all of the bunnies off the wall. I couldn't think of any way to show all the bunnies. There's a whole hallway of bunnies and bunny dreams that Pascal has drawn for me and for Holly, based on our dreams. And so it's a testament to our friendship, but also a testament to our dreams and to that connection that we seem to have in the dream world. Holly, do you feel that? Oh, here we go. Look.
Yes, and I after I'd gifted Kate, well, Pascal had given me the images, which I gifted Kate, so I got more credit than I deserve, but I would tell him what to draw. And then I got concerned that I know her house isn't that big, and I didn't want to clog up all her wall space. And I remember I said to her one year, I said, we can stop this anytime. I don't want to be the person who gives you another framed piece that you're kind of going to put in a closet and that was the year, I believe, she assured me she still wanted images. And I think that was the first year that Pascal drew the dream that you had of us, Kate.
Right. And it's like to walk past that wall is to walk past your dreams made manifest, it's really moving. And there'll always, not to be morbid, but when I'm gone, those bunnies will still be here dreaming, I love the permanence of it. And wait, I look, the ability to.
You found it?
To admire. Yeah.
Lovely.
Oh man, I know what you're getting for Christmas, but this is going to be.
But
you put this on yourself, Pascal.
Wait, you need to who gets to keep that?
It's on the computer, so
Oh.
I can send it. I will do it with my pen and ink. But do you know from where I have that word in French, admirer, the ability to admire? I had a friend who knew 300 poems by heart. He was born in 1917. And during the World War II, he was a French resistant. His name was Stéphane Hessel. And he was betrayed and arrested and tortured by the Gestapo, which is the German police, and he was sent in the camp of Buchenwald, and it was horrible. But every evening he would recite poetry to his fellow prisoners in the barracks. And so I was very lucky to know him well, and we wrote a book about his childhood. And one day he told me, he was 90, and he said, you know, one of the great quality in life you have, which is very important, is the ability to admire. And that's why all of this is connected for me.
Yeah. I want to jump in, go ahead.
No, I just feel like there's nothing else to say now. That's so,
yeah.
I have to write something in my notebook. So
well, I wanted to remind everybody who's watching right now, we have just a couple of minutes, but if you have questions, put them in the chat and they'll get shared with us. Samantha, I think, has just returned. And do we have any questions, Samantha, from our gathering today?
We do. And first of all, I want to thank all of you. This has been a delight to watch and to be a part of. So thank you so much. I want to ask the first question, and I have this question as well. What is a sea pickle?
They grow naturally by the ocean or the bay, and I don't know if they're for sale anywhere, but I don't know much. I don't know much about them, except the way they taste is something I'll never forget. And I don't know if anyone harvests them. It was something Pascal and I experienced, and you can look for them by the next time you're by the bay, growing, and they look just like Pascal drew them.
You have to pick them, and so in Normandy there is an old woman on the market. She sells them, and we cook them in butter. It's delicious, and so no, it's very good.
I guess I'm imagining something to the texture of like asparagus, but is that wrong? Is it more like a cucumber type pickle?
Yeah, but thinner, so it's more crunchy.
Yeah, and like the very tip of the asparagus, maybe.
Okay.
I have a friend who is a chef who is watching us. He should tell us. Steve poses, but I don't know if he can talk.
He should tell us if we can buy them, because I'm ready. I've got my Visa card ready.
Okay, Steve, help us.
The market for sea pickles is going to go way up now that
it is. They're so good, and they're sort of like if you know it, if you've ever had a fiddlehead fern, they're as distinct as that, not tasting the same at all, but you won't forget when you have one. You won't forget the taste.
I actually have a gentleman on here that I believe it's a gentleman that is asking about, he was anticipating seeing, Holly, you're wearing something important, your pants. Would you like to model them for us?
Well, I would very much like to, because I bought these pants last fall thinking the pandemic would be over by now and we'd have a big lunch party in person. And here I'm sitting alone in my apartment. So I need at least one person to admire them.
Should we stop the share of the screen right now so we can actually all admire and then come back to it?
Tell me when you can see them well.
We are seeing you. We can't wait.
There's about 60 people admiring you right now. So
awesome pants.
You guys agree?
They look great.
They look fantastic. Lovely. It makes me feel like we're actually together rather than all in different parts of the country.
Oh, I wish we were, you guys. I mean, we are, but we aren't. I can't wait. Well, the next book, this has to be done, and we're all vaccinated, right?
And you can all come visit, and it'll be lovely.
Yes.
Everyone says nice pants.
Thank you all. I feel I'm basking in that because I've been waiting so many months to wear these, and it's very satisfying.
I love it. We have someone asking Morgan. Hi, Morgan. Thanks for watching. What is everyone currently reading? Holly, why don't we start with you?
Well, since I'm a literary agent, I'm reading something that I can't disclose.
Fair.
Because that would just make a lot of people way too excited. And I'm going to leave it at that.
So something exciting that we can't know. That's fine.
Yes. You'll know in a year or two.
And Pascal, are you going to answer?
You don't want to answer? You want me to answer?
Well, this is so funny. This is a question that I flub every time because I live to read. I've got 8 books spread throughout the house. And then as soon as somebody asks me what it is I'm reading, I draw just like this beautiful blank. The novel I've got going is Julie Oranger's The Flight Portfolio, which is very interesting, Pascal, to hear you talk about your friend from the French Resistance, because this takes place during World War II. So, and I'm reading an old Best American Short Stories, and I'm reading the new issue of Granta, and also the new issue of Paris Review, and everything's spread out all over the place. And
I think you did very well on that answer.
I know, but it's just like as soon as it gets asked, my mind just brings up like the funny thing.
I know, I have the same experience, but fortunately, most of what I read, no one else has read yet. So,
okay, Pascal, you answer.
I'm working on a text now. It's an interview of Vandana Shiva. She's an ecofeminist from India. She studied quantum theories, and she went back in India after being such a great scientist to be part of that group of women called SHIPCO. The translation I think in English would be hugging trees. Because a company wanted to cut the trees in the area where she lived, and the woman said, no, you have to keep the trees because they keep the water in the soil and they give us food, etc. And the company cut the trees, and of course there were floods later, so they realized that they had to save the trees. So it's a group of women that save the trees, and she's a very, very powerful and interesting ecofeminist. And she makes a connection between the quantum theories and what we thought were mainly shaman about how come some people in a forest, they know which plant they will pick to cure that disease or something. So it's all connected between the very, very, very little things and the soul. So it's a very powerful text. And I'm reading this in French. I found it in French. So I'm very happy. It's easier for me to read it.
I hope you're laughing, Pascal. I hope you're laughing.
But I laughed from the beginning with that vacuum cleaner. But I read that it was, was it an heritage from your mother when she passed away?
Yeah, right.
So it's crazy. I laughed a lot, and I felt guilty because, that's from her dead mother. But
you have to send him the speech, okay?
So
yeah, I will.
I have a lot of pleasure, and the next reader will be my daughter.
Beautiful.
It's very good.
Wow, well, that was fun.
And you can see the movie later.
Sorry, yeah.
You guys are all set. So on that note, Julie, did you have any last words? And then I will let everyone know.
I just want to say thank you to Kate and Pascal and Holly for this beautiful story of friendship and resilience. And I think it's the perfect moment for this book because since our worlds have gotten smaller, it gives us a chance to really pay attention to the beautiful things right outside our front doors. So thank you so much for this.
Julie,
Yes, thank you all for joining us this evening and tuning in for this wonderful story time and conversation. Kate, Pascal, Holly, and Julie, thank you so much from Schuler Books and Nicola's Books. If you haven't purchased your copy yet, you can still do so, and I suggest you do. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy some sunshine that's still hanging out.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye, you guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.